If you enjoy this video, please remember to subscribe if you haven't already. And if you like what you see on my channel and would like to support me on Patreon, click on the link below. The Twilight Zone was a groundbreaking anthology series smashing the usual conventions of television and bringing forth many social issues which were rarely discussed on television. The show still today is making an impact 60 years after it premiered, which is quite something for a television show. Director Jordan Peele has even recently resurrected The Twilight Zone with a reboot series, but with the many incarnations of the show, the original black and white series is a class above the rest. The original series had a varied mix of creepy, inventive, imaginative and humorous storylines, with political and social normalities commented on and questioned throughout.
You told Kay Gardella of the New York Daily News this. You said, "Professionally, I don't think Twilight Zone will hurt me, but I must admit I don't think it'll help me either. I'm stepping out of the line of fire. You've had it as far as trying to beat your brains out."
Would you just read me the first two lines, Mike?
"Professionally, I don't think Twilight Zone will hurt me, but I must admit I don't think it'll help me."
I never said that. I'm convinced it'll help me. I have great pride in this show. In 11 or 12 years of writing, Mike, I can lay claim to at least this. I have never written beneath myself. I've never written anything that I didn't want my name attached to. I have probed deeper in some scripts, and I've been more successful in some than others. But all of them that have been on, you know, I'll take my lick. They're mine, and that's the way I wanted them. Somebody asked me the other day if this means that I'm going to be a meek conformist, and my answer is no. I'm just acting the role of a tired nonconformist.
The Monsters Are Due on Maple Street was a perfect example of what The Twilight Zone was about, especially as far as social commentary goes, of how a peaceful street, after a set of mysterious events in a day, can spark paranoia, mistrust, and even violence between the neighbours. This episode shows how easily it is to turn a somewhat peaceful average suburban street of neighbours against each other. At the end of the episode, where we see chaos erupt between the residents, we see the scene cut to a hilltop with an alien spacecraft parked with a crew of aliens looking over the street.
Understand the procedure now? Just stop a few of their machines and radios and telephones and lawnmowers. Throw them into darkness for a few hours and then sit back and watch the pattern.
It is revealed that the shadow at the beginning of the episode was indeed an alien spacecraft, and the aliens used a device to manipulate the power in the street, which sparked the chaos. The aliens comment on how easy it is. Simply messing with the consistency of the street can lead the residents into paranoia, panic and conflict.
And this pattern is always the same?
With few variations. They pick the most dangerous enemy they can find, and it's themselves. All we need to do is sit back and watch.
The episode ends with a rather prophetic closing narration by Rod Serling.
There are weapons that are simply thoughts, attitudes, prejudices, to be found only in the minds of men. For the record, prejudices can kill, and suspicion can destroy, and a thoughtless, frightened search for a scapegoat has a fallout all of its own, for the children and the children yet unborn. And the pity of it is that these things cannot be confined to the Twilight Zone.
The Monsters Are Due on Maple Street was episode 22 of the first season, and the episode was written by creator Rod Serling. The episode aired on March the 4th, 1960 on CBS, and was directed by Ron Winston, who directed a number of well-known TV episodes from legendary shows like Hawaii Five-0 and 2 other episodes of The Twilight Zone, Stopover in a Quiet Town and The Big Tall Wish. This episode was filmed at MGM Studios and Warner Brothers Burbank Studios, where countless shows and movies were filmed. The location used for Maple Street as the abandoned town in the Twilight Zone episode Stopover in a Quiet Town in 1964. The episode starred a number of well-known character actors, including Claude Akins, who starred in a number of well-known films, including Rio Bravo, The Killers, Battle for the Planet of the Apes, Inherit the Wind, and a vast array of television shows. Other actors included Jack Weston, who starred in countless TV shows and films, including Wait Until Dark in 1967, The Thomas Crown Affair in 1968, to Dirty Dancing in 1987. Interesting to note, the aliens looking over the street are wearing original uniforms, left over from Forbidden Planet, the science fiction epic from 1956. Also, the mock-up set of the retractable stairway from Forbidden Planet, leading into the lower half of the C-57D cruiser, was reused for this scene. Also, at the end of the episode, a stock footage effects shot from Forbidden Planet of the cruiser in space can be seen. This stock footage was also used in the Twilight Zone episode To Serve Man. The stock footage of the cruiser was turned upside down to change the look of the space cruiser. The iconic episode was remade in the 2003 Twilight Zone episode of the same name, except a different storyline with the US Army and government causing the paranoia and chaos, not the aliens. It was more of an experiment on how small towns react to terrorism. The opening and closing narration were provided by actor Forrest Whitaker.
Maple Street, USA. A suburban community on a pleasant Saturday afternoon. But in a few moments, everything will change for the residents of Maple Street, as they discover that the monsters they fear may already be among them.
The episode was good, but nowhere near as effective as the original series episode. The main star of the remake was actor Andrew McCarthy. There was also a radio dramatisation of this episode, which was produced in the mid-2000s as part of the Twilight Zone radio series. The graphic novel version was a short story version and was published in Stories from the Twilight Zone, and ends with a race of two-headed aliens moving into Maple Street. The original episode has been a major influence on science fiction. I remember seeing it for the first time, being blown away. I love the twist at the end, and the episode really shows how easily man can turn against each other. In fact, I think this episode is more applicable today, to be honest. I think people are a lot easier to provoke in a situation like this. This episode has inspired a number of directors, including Frank Darabont, for the horror The Mist. Other directors inspired include David Cope for the film The Trigger Effect. Rod Serling really knew how to push the boundaries on TV and the social landscape. My name's Jonathan Bark. Thanks for watching.